come into passive rest pose if you have any pain in your back. If you're having pain in the shoulders, tightness, you could try to lie over a blanket or on a bolster at an incline, almost like a restorative butterfly, but you do it with your feet flat on the mat. That can help to gently soften the shoulders if you're feeling that lying flat is not as relaxing for you. We want to really find our breath here. So, from whatever position you've chosen, saying hello to every part of your body from the top of your head, down the face, maybe softening as you go, but really just checking in, bringing your awareness over your entire body, the neck, the throat, the shoulders and arms and hands, the chest, the shoulder blades cascading down, the sideways, the belly and the lower back, the hips and the buttocks heavy, the pelvic floor, the pelvic bowl, and down both legs to your feet. Take a moment or two to see if you can feel your entire body at once. You may notice that the feeling of your body extends past your physical body. It's what Eckhart Tolle calls the aliveness of your being. So you can sink into your aliveness, becoming aware of your entire body at once and how it expands past your physical body. And then coming into your breath by softening the belly, starting with just the belly breath, making sure that as you inhale through the nose, the belly expands out. And as you exhale through the nose, the belly gently draws in. Just being with the belly breath is an excellent antidote for anxiety. No force. And then moving into the full 3-part breath if that feels right. Filling your belly, keep filling the rib cage, keep filling into the upper chest. Slowly squeeze it out, exhaling out the nose, part by part, whichever direction feels right for you. Bottom up is how I've been doing it the longest. I really enjoy that sensation of emptying fully, but you can do top down. It's perfectly valid practice, just a different way of doing it. Let's do 2 more lengthened breaths. Relaxing your effort with your breath, allowing it to settle, allowing your awareness to settle either at the heart chakra, the center of the chest, or the space between the eyebrows, Ajna chakra, third eye. And if you'd like, setting an intention for your practice. It's just something positive that we're wanting to cultivate in our life, and we state it as if we've already accomplished it. And as we visit it throughout the class, it has a way of sinking into our subconscious and actually happening and changing and growing in us. So if you'd like, you can really make it anything you'd like as long as it's positive in the present tense. And state it to yourself now. If you're sitting upright, now is the time to slowly make your way down to passive rest pose. Heels under the knees, feet hip width apart, arms alongside the body. Check that the back of your neck is long. We never want that chin jutting up. It creates those creases in the back of the neck, compressing our cervical vertebrae. Now find your breath again, and we're just going to move the pelvis. This is a very gentle way to help release our lower back. So on the inhale, let your belly get big and gently tilt your pelvis forward. If there's any pain, you barely move, right? We don't want pain when we practice. Exhale, pull that low belly in and flatten your back. You can press into your feet evenly. Good. Inhale, gently rock forward. So your low back arches off the back. And if you have pretty extreme lordosis, which is that rounding in that lower back, where it curves in, it might go really high. Exhale, pull the pit of your abdomen in. So that's 2 fingers below your belly button. You can even press in to help it. As you exhale, pull that all the way in towards your spine. Really draw it in. That's the pit of your abdomen, and it helps us activate that deep core muscle that stabilizes our hips, our posture. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, pull that low belly in, flatten that back. One more time. Nicely done. Keeping that low belly, drawing in. Take a big inhale, and on your exhale, hug the right knee into your chest. Sigh. Horse lips. Remember, when our jaw can soften, it does help our hips release. It's pretty amazing. So if your teeth are touching, that's usually an indication that you're clenching your jaw. So just open it. If your knee doesn't like this, just grab behind the knee. So we're going to hug our knee in as close as we can to our chest. As long as there's no pain, it's safe. And then keeping our low back flat on the mat, we're going to inhale and slowly start to stretch that left leg out. We're only going as far as we can without letting that low back off the mat. If the low back comes off, that's a sign that your pelvis is tilting forward, and that psoas muscle is tight that we talk about so much. If your leg gets all the way straight, imagine there's a weight on the inside of that left heel that will help keep your toes straight. And then maybe push your left heel away from you and feel that you're really getting a stretch for the hip crease, where that psoas goes through. You also might feel it in your low back. The psoas goes across your lower back and attaches to your lower vertebrae, your spine. 2 more breaths here. Soften the shoulders, the face. Beautiful. Trying to get that muscle to sink and relax is really important. Big inhale, and on the exhale, pull the low belly in and bring that left foot back. Adjust your hips. If they've come apart, you may want to put that right foot down momentarily, lift your hips a few inches, and then lower them back down. That way you know your pelvis is even. And then hugging your right knee back in. If you have a strap nearby or a towel or a blanket, you can use that by taking the strap around the arch where it's close to the heel, and then inhaling to slowly come up. You can wrap the strap one time around your hands or the blanket, and you want your leg comfortably straight. So your leg might be pretty far away from you. We're not going to be here super long. So if you don't have a strap, don't worry about it. Just take your hands to your leg and push your heel away from you gently. You'll feel a gentle stretch for the back of the thigh. Soften your shoulders again. Make sure that you're not pulling and causing shaking. So you only want to go so far that you're feeling a gentle stretch, and then breathe there. Hamstrings are culprits in low back pain very often. So if you have the time at home, you can really make a 10 or 15-minute practice of just opening both hamstrings one at a time in this pose. In a relaxed place, breathing. Nice. Next, exhale, we're going to draw that right knee in and slowly stretch the left leg all the way out. Take your hands to the inside of the right knee and gently open it out to the right. Keep your left hand on your hip. Just a gentle opening for that right hip. Breathe. Eventually, you can do this with a straight leg. Soften the shoulders. Notice where you're feeling this. Send your breath there. Big inhale. And then exhale, slowly bring your right knee back in. Bring that left foot back in so it's flat on the floor, and take your right ankle across your left thigh. Good. Coming into figure 4. The ankle is right where the knee and thigh meet. Let's take about 4 breaths here. If you need to go deeper, go deeper. Interlace your fingers around the thigh. You may feel this around the outside of your right hip. The breaths are long and relaxed. And we're asking, wherever we feel the sensation, we're just sending our breath there, asking the energy to move and the area to soften. In your own time, slowly bring that left foot down. Release the right foot. Stretch your legs out straight if that feels safe for your back. Any sharp pain, you want to really listen to that. And then relax for a moment in Shavasana, noticing the difference between your left and right side. It may be subtle, it may be striking. Closing the eyes. Remembering your intention and just saying it to yourself. Take a big inhale On the exhale, pull that pit of the abdomen in and bring your feet in, probably one at a time is safest. Flat on the floor. Big inhale here, and then exhale, hug your left knee in. You can rock it side to side. If you ever feel any sharpness, that's a sign of hip impingement. And you don't want to force it. If that's happening, you can take your thumb to the hip crease and kind of help create space there and see if that releases it. But if it's still there, you don't want to keep your knee in close. And then from there, we're going to, once we've rocked a few times, maybe grab behind the thigh for our knees' sake. Keeping that low belly hugging in and keeping your low back as flat as you can, stretch the right leg out slowly on the mat. So we're focusing on the low back staying flat so that the psoas muscle can get a gentle stretch. We're doing this very slowly. And the minute we feel the low back starting to come up, we relax, we pause, and maybe that's where we stay. Just sending the breath to the hip crease, asking that muscle to release. Good. And once it goes straight, if it does go straight, weight, imagining a weight on the inside of that right heel, maybe pushing the heel gently away. 3 more breaths. To the pelvic floor, check that your jaw is unclenched. This is to release that psoas that can get very tight and weak and end up destabilizing our pelvis, our low back, and also just creating pain and imbalances. Draw that low belly in, and when you feel ready, bring your right foot back to even off your hips again. You can bring your left foot down, lift the hips up 2 inches, and then lower them back down. Hugging that left knee back in. If you'd like, you'd use a strap. This is the time. You can loop the strap around the arch of the foot where the heel and arch meet, and then pushing that heel away, stretching the leg straight up. So when you have the strap lower, it can help open the hamstring. Higher, it can help the calf. But honestly, any position can help do both. So listen to your body. If your knee is bent, you just want your leg further away. And if you don't have a strap, you just grab onto your leg. Interlace your fingers around the thigh and breathe. So we're not pulling, we're not causing shaking. We want the leg to relax so that the hamstring feels safe to open. Let's take 3 more breaths. Shoulders soft. Nicely done. When you're ready, bending your knee, hugging that left knee in, stretching the right leg out straight on the mat, and opening the left knee out to the side for an inner thigh stretch, eventually with the legs straight, but today not. Right hand can rest on your hip so the hip doesn't come up. And we hang on to that left knee so that we don't drop it to the floor. It may not want to go that far. Now notice where you're feeling this. Remember, there's no sharpness, there's no pain. So if there is, you want to go closer in and breathe there. The safe place is where the body will open, and you can move the energetic blockages, you can move the tightness. Big inhale. On the exhale, bring that left knee back in, pull the pit of the abdomen in, right foot flat on the mat. Swing your left ankle across the right thigh and come into figure 4. Check if your jaw is tightening again, maybe horse lips. Draw your left toes back towards your knee to protect your knee. If you need to go deeper, interlace the fingers around that right thigh or right foot on a block and breathe. Notice where you're feeling this. Potentially, it's the outside of the hip, the buttocks area, but really it's where you need to. 3 more breaths. Close the eyes. Awareness goes to where you feel it. Drawing that left knee in. When you're ready, placing the right foot down on the mat first, and then slowly taking the feet back. This time, we're just going to keep the knees bent, the feet flat on the mat. This is your practice. You come out when you're ready. If it's a tight side, sometimes you want to stay longer than I stay. Open your feet as wide as the mat. Sweep the arms out as wide as they comfortably can go without coming off the floor. And then windshield wipers side to side. Remember, for hip replacements, we're not going to drop that top knee past the middle of the body, right? So I can see I'm keeping my top knee up here to do the windshield wiper. But otherwise, you're welcome to go all the way down side to side. Big breath. Nicely done. Sweeping the arms back, bringing the feet back, and then gently coming onto one side, making a pillow with the arm, closing the eyes. Try to become aware of all the parts of your body that are lying on the floor. Can you release them a little deeper into the floor? 2 more breaths here. Saying your intention to yourself. Blinking the eyes open, inhaling, taking the top leg back, pressing into the top hand, and slowly moving to all fours. Reaching for a blanket to place under your knees. Remember, yoga is actually great for all of us, but not every pose is great for all of us. So we're going to have to adjust and maybe skip and maybe change poses to make it right for our body. From all fours, you can take your knees a little bit wider, big toes touching, draw that low belly in, and sink back to the hips, coming into a child's pose, bringing the forehead to the mat. Now, that actually requires a lot of flexibility and mobility that the body may not want to do today. Every day is different. So an alternative, you could put a bolster under you. You can keep the knees under the hips, come onto the forearms, stack fists, rest your forehead on the fists. If you're doing a puppy dog, which is what I'm demonstrating here, try not to overarch your lower back so that we get a nice release for the back. So sink your hips back as far as you can in this puppy dog, pulling the belly in gently to lengthen from your base of your skull all the way to the tailbone. This is why child's pose can be such a great pose for helping with back pain, because you can gently open up the spaces between the vertebrae, especially low back pain. No force, 2 more breaths. Next, inhale when you feel ready, slowly coming up to all fours. Check in with your wrists. If they're not ready for this, you can try with blocks on the forearms. Inhaling as we arch our back. Exhaling as we round. Inhaling, arching. Exhaling, rounding. If your wrists are tight, but you'd like to attempt this, you just put a blanket under the heels of your hand. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Stay with your breath. If you feel like you need more oxygen today, like you really need some energy, then pick up the pace and do a full breath quickly. Last one. Inhale, come to neutral. Exhale, feet to the right as you look towards the right. Squeeze your right shoulder towards your right hip. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, feet to the left. Look towards the left. Squeeze. Inhale, back to center. 2 more. That's it. Low belly stays in. We don't want to overarch that low back. Good. That's it. Yep, exactly. Feel that? Inhale back to center. Nice. And now we're going to come all the way to our belly to relax. So moving down slowly, maybe getting forearms and fists there, coming all the way down, stacking hands under the forehead. Check that your elbows are as wide as they can comfortably go. Oftentimes we keep them closer to the body, and that creates actually muscle engagement in our shoulders, and we want them to release. So open your elbows as wide as you can. Now bring your awareness to your belly. Notice as you inhale through the nose that the belly gets bigger and actually pushes on the floor. Notice as you exhale, there's a compression, the belly lets go, and you actually sink more into the floor. 2 more breaths focusing on the belly. Beautiful. Releasing your hands alongside the body. Bring your forehead to the mat. Feet are hip width apart. Now, what we're going to work on here is strengthening the muscles alongside our spine without crunching our lower back. So we want to imagine as we come up into a handless cobra that we're coming forward with the top of our head and lifting up with the chest. So on your next inhale, lengthen forward, draw those shoulder blades back and come up. Exhale and slowly lower down. So we want to keep the back of the neck long as well. So let's do 2 more. We're inhaling and we're coming up, lengthening the back of the neck. So don't lift up your head like that. Keep your chin in line. There we go. Exhale down. Good. Yeah, it's a challenge. Good. Let's do that 1 more time. Inhale, lengthen your back, lengthen. That's it. Exactly. Exhale, lower down. Good. Now bring your chin to the mat or your lips. My favorite, locust leg lifts. Excellent for strengthening the lower back, but also for giving us some nice adrenal support and stress support. Make sure your legs are hip width apart. Some of you, your legs are a little wide, and we don't want to create imbalances here. So on your next inhale, let's slowly lift the right leg up. That's it. Exhale, slowly lower down. See if you can go a little lower. Good. Inhale the left leg up. That's it, but more controlled. Exactly. Exhale down, nice and slow. Good. Very good. So you're doing it with your breath. Good. Let's keep going side to side. You're inhaling, you're lifting the right leg. Exhaling, lowering down. And yeah, just keep going side to side, whatever leg you're on. You're going to go as fast as your breath. Good. A little less high so that you can stay stronger. So only go about half that height for most of you, and then notice that you can keep the integrity. If your foot starts to wiggle, that's a sign that the strength isn't there. So go lower and slower. Last one. That's beautiful. You've got it. That's it. Relax. Stack your hands under your forehead. Let that go. Wave your feet in the air. Oh, well done. I can guarantee you all got a little stronger from that one. That looked very good. Now let's do a nice resting pose that also stretches our inner thighs. Yeah, Kate's there. So bring your knees as wide as you can, as wide as you can. Keep your feet up in the air. Bring the soles of your feet together. Yeah, so the feet stay up while you open your knees wide, and then let your feet go down. Some of you are so open here. I find this one really weird. It's hard for me to access these muscles. So enjoy. Whatever you're feeling is what you need to feel. Good. Let's take 2 more breaths. If you're not feeling anything, often you have to take the feet back up and open your knees even wider, and that might resolve it. Beautiful. As you next exhale, pull your heels back towards the buttocks and then walk your knees in very mindfully. Be gentle with your body. Bring the feet down. Nicely done. Bring your hands so that the fingertips are under your shoulders and your head is turned to the right with the left cheek on the mat. We're going to gently open up our quads, which can help with our psoas too. So on your next inhale, we're going to bend the left knee as we lift our head and chest, lengthening the back of our neck. Bring your left heel to the buttocks. Exhale, lower down, turn your head to the left, right side of the head on the mat. Inhale, head and chest lift. Shoulders are broad, right heel comes to the buttocks. Exhale, turn your head the other way. Inhale, bend the opposite leg, so left heel, head and chest lift. Exhale, turn to look to the left. Inhale, so your knee stays down. You're simply bending your heel in towards the buttocks, feeling that stretch, maybe in the thigh, maybe in the psoas. Your breath is essential. The inhale happens, and then you lift the rest of the way for the full inhale. Exhale happens lower down for the full exhale. Avoid holding the breath at all. Keep flowing with your breath. Shoulder blades down the back. Good. Yes. Try to get your head and chest a little higher. Last one. Lower down. Sigh. Horse lips. Let that go. Very nicely done. When you're ready, press into your hands or your forearms and fists, push up to all fours and sink back into your child's pose, your resting pose, whichever one you need to be in to stretch out your back, the full length of your back. Let that go. Bolster is a nice idea to keep the back straight. Find your breath again. Soften. Try not to reach so much with the shoulders. Let them round off to the sides. That's it. Or even if they need to fall forward, just keep them relaxed. It's okay. Horse lips. Say your intention to yourself. On your next inhale, blanket under the knees, coming up to all fours. Knees are under the hips. From here, we're going to exhale as we walk our hands to the right about 2 feet. And then we're going to bend our left elbow, placing our forearm onto the mat. Fingers are pointing towards the right corner. Rest your forehead on your forearm and reach your right arm out as far as you comfortably can. Ground or draw rather your right chest towards the floor. Let your right hip gently pull back. Pull the low belly in. And notice what you're feeling in the right side of the body. If you're not feeling anything, your right fingertips may have to move a little further away. Sometimes you feel it in the armpit. Just notice. 2 more breaths. You've had it. You have it. If you're not feeling it, you're on your left forearm and your right arm is reaching away. You've turned your whole body towards the left, but you're actually stretching the right side. That's it. Exactly. Good. Now inhale, slowly come up. Bring that right hand back, press into it. Straighten the left hand, come back to the center, and then to the other side. So we walk our hands to the right about 2 feet. Bend the right elbow, place the forearm down. Bring your forehead to the forearm. So you're going to have to adjust to make sure you can reach it. It's all a matter of torso and arm length. And then walk your left fingertips out further and further until you can draw your left chest toward the floor. Your left fingertips are out, the left side of your chest drawing toward the floor. Pull that low belly in. Sink the left hip back gently. See if you can really breathe into the left side of your rib cage, because you can. It's just learning how to access that. 2 more breaths here. When you feel ready, we're going to inhale, bringing that left hand back, pressing into the mat, slowly coming up to all fours. And then exhale, slowly sinking back into a resting pose just for a breath, whatever's restful for you. Good. And then very slowly, we're going to make our way up to standing. Spread those fingers wide, tuck those toes, drawing your low belly in, inhaling here, and then exhaling, lifting those hips. Ears are alongside the upper arms, hips are high in the sky. If this is too much for your wrists, if your shoulders are not happy with it, do this on your forearms. You're going to press into your full forearm as you lift up those hips. Squeeze those elbows. This can really help to access those muscles that we want to access to avoid the trapezius, the muscles in the serratus, right around the armpit, the rhomboids, between the shoulder blades. Take another breath. Let your heels drop towards the mat. Notice what you're feeling. And then next exhale, slowly lower down. Take a breath. Resting pose of your choice. And then we'll make our way up after this next rest. So listen to your breath. Do you need more time? Take as much time as you need to even out your breath. And then when you feel like it's time, you can slowly inhale up to all fours. Exhale into your downward dog. And inhale in your own time, walking your feet to your hands or your hands to your feet and coming into a forward fold that's appropriate for you. So either a half forward fold or a full forward fold. And then when you're ready, Bending your knees deeply, swinging the arms wide, reaching up, coming up on that inhale breath. Exhale, sweeping the arms back down. Nicely done. Finding your Tadasana. If you have a block, this can really help you access the right muscles for standing. I know it seems silly, but it can really help. So you're going to take the block between your thighs, spread your toes wide, press your toes back into the earth, and then squeeze onto the block and see if you can draw your block back. So it's the action of drawing your block back. Once your block is back, now find the pit of your abdomen, that place below the belly button, about 2 fingers below the belly button. Draw that in and let your pelvic floor come in as well and up your spine. So your block actually stays back, but the low belly pulls in and up. Can you feel the muscles starting to really hug in around your hips? You can work on this on your own. And if you don't have a block, you can still practice this, drawing your inner thighs back and then really hugging in. You're keeping the curve in your low back while you're letting your tailbone drop. Now try to do it with the block removed and see if you can feel how stabilizing that can be for your pelvis and can really help with back pain. Heart lifts, shoulders broaden, palate comes back, base of the skull lifts up, palms face forward, close the eyes and feel this. You want to feel your pelvic floor drawing in. That's a core muscle. You want to feel that pit of the abdomen drawing in and up. Beautiful. Blinking your eyes, opening. Hands to the hips. Pour the weight onto your left foot and slowly lift your right foot. Feel your glute med activating. So you're just kind of holding your right foot there. You can swing it a little bit. It's fun to swing your foot because if you don't think that it's a balancing pose, we usually balance much better. So as you swing your foot, keep drawing that left hip in, that left buttock in. You want to feel that the muscle's working. Good. And then when you're ready, stop the swinging and slowly start to reach your right foot back. Touch your right toes down. See if you can keep your heel lifted. Now, this is a nice one to have a wall in front of you if it feels really hard to maintain, or even to the side. Your right foot is straight out from your hip. This is a great one for the psoas too, so for stretching our hips. Front knee is over the ankle, hands on the hips. Push your back heel as far back as you can while lengthening your tailbone. So you're drawing your tailbone down and pushing your back heel back while your hips stay in one line. So both hips are pointing towards the front of the room. Do you feel that? If you get the alignment right, you'll feel it. So work on it. Hip points, those bony protrusions pointing forward. Back heel pushing back. Tailbone gently dropping. Release the hands. Good. Inhale, reach them up. Good. From here, fists of fire. So big inhale into your rib cage. Exhale, bend the back knee. Keep the hips right where they are. Fists come down. 3 more. Really big inhale, really forceful exhale. Nice job. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, slowly open out wide. Beautiful. We're going to very slowly pour our weight onto the left foot. Draw that low belly in and see if we can lift up our back foot. Now we've done a lot on that left hip, so hopefully it's really starting to burn, like you're starting to feel that it's working. You can keep your toe down if you need to. Eventually open your arms out wide or even reach forward into Virabhadrasana 3. Activate your leg behind you. That's it for 3, 2, 1. Slowly step the foot up to the bottom leg. Wow, let that go. Believe it or not, that is really good for sacroiliac dysfunction. It really helps strengthen the muscles to support our pelvis. Let it go. Swing a little. And then standing at the top of your mat, closing your eyes, one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. So do you feel your feet on the mat? Do you feel those inner thighs drawing back while the low belly is hugging in, the pelvic floor is lifting up? Do you feel the heart lifting, the palate back? What's the breath doing? Let's lengthen it. Blinking your eyes open, taking your hands to your hips, pouring the weight onto the right foot this time. Squeeze the right side of the hip and just swing the left foot. You can take your hands off the hips if that feels easier. Try not to think about it, but really focus on stabilizing that standing leg, the right leg, squeezing those muscles and getting them to work. You'll find that it's easier to balance if you don't think of it as balance, just hanging out. And when you're ready, release the swinging and slowly start to stretch that left leg straight back. Touch the toes to the mat and keep your heel lifted. So we want to make sure our feet are hip width apart. We don't want to be standing right behind the front leg. Front knee over the front ankle. So you might need to back up a little more. Hip points pointing forward. Now remember, we're going to push our back heel away from us while we gently draw the tailbone down and pull that abdomen in, lengthening our lower back. Do you feel that? Maybe through the hip crease, maybe through the front of the thigh. This is a great pose to work on. If you can't do saddle, for instance, if you know what I'm talking about, what saddle is, where you sit on your heels, this is a great way to start getting those muscles to open where you don't have to really contort yourself. And a wall is very nice here. So let's release our hands, lift the heart. Let's take another breath or two here, just drawing that pelvic floor in and up, pushing that back heel away from us and feeling what's happening, sending our breath down the back, the front leg there. Front knee right over the ankle. That's it. Yeah. Try not to overarch that low back though. Pull that belly in and feel length in your lower back. Now, in your next inhale, sweep the arms straight up. Good. And now trying to keep your hips right where they are, we're going to fists of fire, bend the back knee, fists come down. Big inhale, exhale, fist. Two more. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, open out wide, pressing into that front foot. Woo. Slowly pour your weight onto that right leg and start to lift up that left leg. Now, the right leg should really be feeling it. You can keep your toe down, work here, or open the arms out wide, activate your back leg, or maybe even reach forward. This is a challenge for 3, 2, and 1. Step your back foot up to the front. Shake it out. Circle your shoulders. Sigh. Twist with the ha. 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 Inhaling in the middle, exhaling with a ha. 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 Nicely done. Whew. Standing here, if you have a block nearby or something that you can, like a chair would work too. We're going to stand wide on the mat, as wide as you comfortably can. Check your feet. Your arches are staying lifted. If you have sciatica pain right now, it may not work to have your feet parallel. Feel free to open your toes out if that helps, or just skip the pose. Inhale, lift the heart, hands to the hips. Exhale, soften those knees, squeeze your thighs in and fold. Going halfway, reach for the block. Good. So feel your whole back lengthening. So you're going to be looking down and see if you can imagine the base of your skull lifting up towards the ceiling. Imagine the tops of your shoulders opening out to either side. The weight's more in the balls of your feet. Inhaling here, exhaling, maybe folding a little. Inhale, coming back so your hands rest on the block. Exhale, folding a little. Keep going. Good. And then when you feel ready, bend your knees, pull that pit of the abdomen in. Inhale, reach the arms out wide, press into those feet firmly. Squeeze your inner thighs, really squeeze them. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Oh, and slowly come out. Whew. And then heel toe back in, wiggle, shake that out, circle your ankle, circle your other ankle. Nice. Move the block to the side. One hand on the heart, one hand on the belly. Feet are comfortable. Knees are soft. Eyes are closed. However fast your breath is, see if you can double the length of the inhale and the exhale. Blinking your eyes open. Taking your fingertips and walking them up from your hips, palms facing your lower back, as far as you need to get a stretch for the wrists. Elbows come towards each other, heart lifts. Take a breath here. Good. From the top of the mat, releasing your hands, inhaling, reaching up, exhaling, opening out wide, folding forward. Inhaling, sliding the hands up halfway, flattening the back. Exhaling, hands to the mat and walking your feet back into a downward dog just for a couple breaths. You want to feel like your armpits are rolling in. The outside of that upper arm is drawing back so that the tops of your shoulders broaden. If that's too much, lower down to your knees. We're going to do a core and hip stabilizer. On the next inhale, we're going to slowly come all the way forward into plank, but let's lower down to our knees. Let's lower down to our knees. So we'll start with the knee down plank. If your wrists don't like this, you're going to start with a forearm knee down plank, but make sure you press into your full forearm and your elbows are right under your shoulders. Otherwise, your hands can be flat under the shoulders, wrists under the shoulders. Draw that low belly in and lengthen your tailbone away from you. Press into the hands or the forearms and feel the space between the shoulder blades activating. Once you feel this, if you'd like, on your inhale, straighten your legs. Now, you know that you can hold this if your belly doesn't start to sink towards the floor. If your belly starts to sink towards the floor, do it with the knees down. Let's take 3 more breaths. Keep pulling that pit of the abdomen in. Nice. Exhaling, slowly lowering down to the knees, reaching for your blanket, and coming into a resting pose. 3 breaths. Any resting pose. If resting for you is lying on the belly, do that. Slow down the breathing. Remember your intention. Next, inhale, slowly coming up to a seated position. You're going to want something to sit on that keeps your lower back with that gentle lumbar curve. So we don't want to feel like we're falling backwards, basically. So your knees can be bent as you find a cushion to sit on. I like to pull the flesh away from the seat area so that I can feel my sit bones almost falling off the cushion. That's how I know I'm in the right place. The pelvis tilts forward. And then once you're there, let the soles of the feet come together. They don't have to be right up against you unless that feels like it gives you the stretch that you want. This is really a nice one for helping with those muscles that can pull on our back. So we're inhaling and lifting the heart. And then maybe our arms are going in front of the legs. If you have any pain or something that's telling you this isn't right, try cushions under your thighs or sitting up higher. And if that doesn't work, then change the pose. So from here, we're going to close our eyes and breathe. Notice where you feel this. You can stay here and work on asking those hip creases to soften. Or moving with the breath, you can reach your hands for the feet. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, gently folding. If you know there's issues going on with your back, then keep moving. So inhale and come up again, and then exhale and fold again. Make sure your breath is enveloping every movement so that there's no chance of moving without breathing. Some people feel safe rounding their back. If that's you, you're welcome to do that for the last 2 breaths. Inhale to slowly come up. Taking the hands to the knees. Whew, feet out a little wider, hands can go behind you. If you'd like to do a little bit of side to side, remember, don't cross the midline if you have the hip replacement, but feel free to open out to the side. It might just feel better to do that anyway. And then when you're ready, scoot yourself forward. And slowly, using your core is optional, right? Draw the low belly in and start to slowly come back down. Oh, the core might be done for today. And then once you're here, heels under the knees. The back of the neck is long, arms alongside the body. Feel your breath. Saying your intention to yourself. If you have a blanket, rolling it up so it's not too high and placing it under the back of the neck and the base of the skull, rolling onto your left side with the knees stacked. So knees are stacked, you're on your left side. The blanket does feel really nice under the base of the skull. Right palm rests in the left. Inhale as you reach the right fingertips forward and open all the way out, following the right hand with your eyes. Exhale, slowly bringing those hands back together. So try to keep the top knee right on the bottom knee if you've got issues with your back. That way you won't get the twist in your low back. Inhale, reach forward and open all the way out. Exhale, slowly come back. Let's do that 2 more times. Really use your breath. Last one. Inhaling, reaching forward, opening out. And then if you've got something that you can place under your right shoulder, you might need it because the shoulder might not be willing to go all the way out. You can tuck that blanket under your right shoulder too. And that way your knees can stay together. And this becomes quite a helpful opening for the right shoulder. Eventually, people can take their right arm all the way down. And remember, every body is different. If your body is fine with the top knee sliding back and really coming, that's okay too. Close your eyes and send your breath where you're feeling this. Use the breath to soften and encourage the letting go. Your head is not any direction specifically, it's where it's most comfortable. Big inhale. Exhale, bring that right arm down to join the left. Take a breath. And then slowly moving to the other side. So really slowly. Coming on to that right side. Right arm is stretched out. Left hand rests in the right. Inhale, reaching forward and opening all the way up when you're ready. Exhale, slowly back together. 3 more. Full length of the inhale, opening out. Full length of the exhale, closing. That's it. Everybody's different, so just listen to where you're at. After the 4th one, if you feel ready, you can take a pause, putting something under that left shoulder. And breathing here. You may not need anything under the shoulder. It really depends on your body. Notice the area that you feel sensation and send your breath there. Relaxing as much as possible for the last couple of breaths. Big inhale. Exhale slowly. Hands come back together. And then moving mindfully onto the back. Keeping this blanket that you use nearby, but moving it to the side. Let's stabilize the sacrum. I know it's not our favorite, but it really does help. So heels in comfortably close to the buttocks, feet parallel. We're pressing into the full foot as we do these bridges, and you're welcome to add arms as long as it's done relaxed. And with the breath, it will really help to release the shoulders and neck. Inhaling, tucking the tailbone, lifting the hips and the arms, thighs stay parallel. Exhaling, slowly lowering down vertebrae by vertebrae. Slow, slow, slow. Belly really pulls in so that the last thing to touch is the tailbone and hands. Really work on this, linking it perfectly to the breath. Feet go as wide as the mat, toes can be out slightly. Inhaling, tucking that tailbone, lifting up vertebrae by vertebrae, really slow. Exhale and slowly lowering down, really slow from the top of your vertebrae. So go slow down your spine, mid back, all the way down. And then feet together. You're going to feel your big toes touching, keeping those thighs together, inhaling up. Vertebrae by vertebrae, exhaling down. And then feet hip width apart. Let's take 3 breaths here. So you can keep your arms down if you'd like. Inhaling slowly, lifting up into the bridge. If your hands are down, you might want to interlace them and tuck onto the tops of your shoulders. Otherwise, if your arms are up, just enjoy breathing here. Try to soften the buttocks. Keep the breath in the belly. Well, all the way through, but all the way down to the belly. And then on your next exhale, slowly lower down. Drawing both knees into the chest, One hand on either knee or anywhere that's comfortable, shins behind the thighs. Inhale, straighten the arms. Exhale, pull the belly in as firmly as you can. As the knees hug into the chest, the back flattens on the floor. 3 more. Apanasana. Taking the feet down to the mat, hands on the belly, closing the eyes, feeling the breath all the way to the belly. Rolling gently to one side and pushing halfway up. If you have a bolster, you'll put that about where your knees are going to be. If you have a pillow, you'll put that about where your head is. And then you can take that rolled up blanket. It's really not very high. It's like what, 3 inches, 4 inches at the most, like 2.5. I mean, we don't want it very high. You can use a rolled up blanket under your knees as well. I find that if your bolster's a little flat, I kind of like roll it so that it gets right in that nook, the knee nook. I'm pretty sure that's not the way to say it. And then from here, we're going to slowly lower down onto that blanket. And it's going to be, you can say the bra line. It's really right at the base of your shoulder blades. So use your arms to help. And then a pillow under the head. So mine's a little high. My head's a little higher than it needs to be. You really want your neck to be straight. So maybe this will be better. You may not even need anything. That's better. And then the arms open out wide. This is called Mountain Brook. And if done correctly, this could be your Shavasana. Although correctly, for some of us, it's just hard to get comfortable here. There should be a gentle lifting of your chest. So if this blanket is too low, you won't feel the lift. If it's too high, it might also not be giving you a proper back bend. So you can adjust. I think I need mine slightly higher. Now I feel that lift more in my chest. It can really help with upper chest breathing. Mountain Brook. I will take a peek if you'd like me to, but they look very good. If you have any blankets, if you need, you can do that too. But since you're already in it, feel free to stay. Now, this is a wonderful posture to deeply relax the body while gently opening up the chest, releasing the neck and shoulders. If you're working on that in your own body, then perhaps for the next 2 minutes that we're here, you can practice feeling that breath in your upper chest around the collarbone. Exhaling the breath down the arms and just feeling the whole area of the neck and shoulders softening and releasing. Starting to deepen your breath. If you're comfortable, you're welcome to stay here for Shavasana. Maybe adding a blanket. If it's just not right, then simply roll to the side, remove the blanket from under your back, and then come back to lying down. Being as comfortable as possible in your Shavasana. The more blankets, the better, I find. Weight on the abdomen can be very grounding. Eye pillows can help keep the eyes closed. Socks, even weight on the hands can feel lovely. Watching your body breathing. Feeling every part of the body letting go and releasing. From toes to the top of the head, from the heart to the hands. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Coming back to your breath. Wiggling fingers and toes, circling wrists and ankles. Drawing your knees in, maybe rocking out the back before coming to one side. Slowly coming up to a comfortable seated posture. When you feel ready, try to stay as relaxed as possible. And then connecting to that long 3-part breath. Unmuting yourself on the way for our Om.
Beautiful.
Feeling the breath move from the belly to the rib cage to the upper chest, and then squeezing it out slowly. 3-part breath, lengthen breath, 2 more. Hands on the lap or at heart center. Remembering as we do the vibration of Om, that this is a very healing vibration for every cell in our body, for our mind, and for the space around us. And you can feel the Om once we stop saying it just around you. So part of the Om is the silence afterwards. 3 Oms. Exhaling fully. Long inhale. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.